Hello. Insertion in doubly linked list. For our current list here, we have already 3 lists, item 5, 8, and 3, under a memory address of 100, 200, and 300. So as you would notice that the node between is connected by the next and the previous node. Okay. Now, if we will be inserting a node at the beginning, which is the first node, currently is 5 item, okay, under the 100 of memory address 100. So we'll be inserting it here. So 5 later on will now become the second node, and for our new node, which is 9, would become the first node. Now for our head is 100 and for the tail is 300, so we're not much focused on the tail because we'll be inserting on the first or the beginning, which is the head usually is 100. Now for inserting the beginning, for our head now will turn into 400 since this is the new node that we want to insert at the beginning. Okay, so for the new node, of course, both the previous and the next part of the node is null, in which this null will turn into the second node. So remember, our 5 was the first node before. Now he will become the second node, so therefore this null will now turn into 100. Okay, so for our new node, which is 400, and then later on, as you have here, so it will now fill up with 100 since 5 was the next node. Now this null of item 5 will also become a value from the previous node. Okay, so since 5 was the next second node and 9 will become the first node, so therefore this null will soon later on become 400, and this one will also turn into remain null, but our head later on will become 400. Okay, so let's proceed with clicking it. So this one null will become now 400. Okay, and also this will be also disconnected since it is not the first node already. Okay, so head will now be pointing in our first node, which is 400. Okay, so this will now be having a direct connection. So using my pen here, let's say, so initially this will now have a connectivity from here. So 400 will have a connection here and a double connection right there. Okay, so that's why 100 on the next node of item 9 and 400 was the previous node of item 5 on the node 5. Okay, so for the head now will become, as I said a while ago, it will turn into 400. Okay, so since 9 will now be the first node because that is the new node that we have inserted out at the beginning. Okay, so next, so as you could see, it has been already disconnected from the second node, and there will be a double connection on the first node to the second node. Okay, and our tail, I should say head, will now be 400 because that is the new node that we have inserted at the beginning. Okay, now for inserting at the end, sorry for the 100 there, that's not should be indicated there, so just ignore this one. Okay, so our head now is 400, just a while ago that we have inserted at the beginning. Okay, Now we'll be inserting the node at the end. Okay, so our tail, so we're not focused on the head now, we'll be focusing on the tail, in which our last node is under 300 memory address, and it is an item of 3, and for the next node was null. So this is where we'll be putting 500. Okay, so null will be having a 500 here, since this is the node that we want to insert at the end of the list. Okay, so for the new node, an item which is 12, so therefore this null on item 3 will become 500, and also for this part, the null on this side for the previous node will become 300. Okay, so let's click it. So 500 is my new node. So there, so what will be this blank I said a while ago? It will be 500. Okay, now for this null will be also changed into 300. Okay, so and now we'll be having a double connection on the what node is done. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and this will be our fifth node. So 4 and 5th node will have now a direct connection. And for our tail, since this is the last node now, which is previously is 300, for now our tail will now become 500. Okay, and there will be a direct connection with it, and our tail now will become 500. So that's it for the inserting a node at the end. Now for inserting a node at any position, so we have I have 1, 2, 3 nodes only in my double linked list. Now from the code here, enter position of the node. Okay, for our variable pos, so we have to enter what position we want to insert this 9 or new node value here, which is 400, along on the list. So where do you want to insert it? So position is 3 there. Okay, so therefore from the code here we have position -1. So if I have here 3, what I have entered is 3, so therefore I will accumulate I, while pos -1, which is 3 minus 1, so therefore that is 2. So I is started from 1, so 1, 2. So I'll be moving from 1 and second node. Okay, so that is the code referring to this one. So if I put 4, okay, so it means I'll be moving it 1, 2, 3. If I put 1, so that's not possible, I can insert on the first one. So I have entered position 3 here, so therefore I will move from this position, which is first I, and then the next position, so I will be inserting on this side. Okay, this between 200 and 300. Okay, so initially I here, so as we have here in code, I is equal to 1 for the position. Now I'll be moving temp of next, so we should 100 to 200 and 200 to 300. So let's simulate it. So starting from 100. Okay, now next 200. Okay, next memory address 200, and then I now is already 2, so it will stop from 200. So therefore we'll be now moving or inserting on this particular position between memory address 200 and 300. That is where this 400 will go through. Okay, it will be inserted in this portion, and this connection between 300 and 200 will be disconnected, the link between them. Okay, so if this will be blank now, this null will obtain the value of this one, which is 200. So therefore, I will be connecting this one 200 to this one. I'll be using my pen. Okay. So this will be the prospect connectivity if we insert it. Okay. So there, and this one, and this one will be later on be disconnected. So there will be no more link between 200 and 300 address. Okay. So if this 8 or 200 is connected for this new node, so therefore I'm referring here this should be 200. Okay. So I have to put here this is 200. Okay. So I just click the presentation so you could see it. So there, it's 200. Now this 300 will also be changed later on and turn into 400. Okay. Now for this part, he started from here. This part will now become what address? It should be, since we are connected going up, so this will be 300. Okay. Okay. So there, that's right, 300. Now for the next of the 200, okay, let's see, it will leave it blank. So I said a while ago, it will also change into, this will become 400. Okay. So here, now this one will also change also, since this one is connected with this one, so this will also turn into 400. Okay, let's see if I'm correct. Okay, let's see. Next, there, it's been removed. Okay, and next, there, it's 400. So our prospect was connectivity. It goes like that. So the connection between 200 to 200 is already disconnected, and the link now will be from 200 going to 400 and 400 going to 300. Okay. That's next. So there, this is the connection. Okay, next again. So there. So finally, we have inserted this item 9, okay, between 200 and 300 nodes. Okay, that would be all for the insertion a node for any position for double linked list. Okay, once again, good day.